Well, good morning. Welcome to Saturday's edition of Quarantining with Pastor Michelle. And I am Pastor Michelle. And so let's get started with just a few words from this book. When I allow myself to feel my body, when I can inhabit it and allow myself to close off the world beyond my flesh, become who I am, energy and spirit. I am not my mind. I am not my brain. I am stardust, comets, nebula, and galaxies. I am trees and wind and stone. I am space. I am emptiness and wholeness at the same time. That is when my body sings to me a glorious ancient song redolent with mystery, seeking to remain mystery. Connecting to it, living with it, becoming it even for a moment. I am healed and made more. Ceremony. Whatever brings you closer to your essential self. I don't want to touch you skin to skin. I want to touch you deeply beneath the surface where our real stories lie. Touch you where the fragments of our being are, where the sediment of things that shaped us forms the verdant delta of our human story. I want to bump against you and feel the rush of contact and ask important questions and offer compelling answers so that together we might learn to live beneath the surface, where the current bears us forward deeper into the great ocean of shared experience. This is how I want to touch and be touched, through beingness, so that someday I might discover that even the skin remembers. And I want to finish it out because tomorrow we'll start a new section. When the drum beats, it resonates beyond your body. It becomes the heartbeat of creation as it was meant to be. To sing with it is to offer a blessing to all that is and to receive blessings back. That's why drums echo. Put your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and feel the drum in your chest. Sing with it, and blessings become your breath, and drawn and expelled, emptying and filling all the world at once. And so, my friends, let's open with a moment of prayer. Our Father and Mother, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So, good morning, everyone. As you can tell, I've not been up too long. Just been watching some Kimmy Schmidt. I stayed up late last night watching finishing up the first season of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which... my goodness, I highly recommend you watch it. It was an amazing show. And I don't want to give anything away. I loved the music, and it was a good show. So I highly recommend it. I was up till 2 watching that. So I was determined to finish it. And then I was going to start watching episodes of Seinfeld and then fell asleep. But it's just an incredible show, and it talks a really good show that tackles grief in this real way. And it's been a while. I mean, I finished the first season, and I literally I felt this like, I don't know. I just felt a feeling after finishing the first season, and it was just yeah. And so it's been a while since a show. Well, it's not been that long. Let's be honest, but. It's been, the only other show I can think of that really gives me the feels and really makes me think about things is This Is Us. But yesterday I also finished the series, How to Get Away with Murder. And I thought that one ended pretty well too. But yeah, a little known fact about me. I'm addicted to TV shows. So that's something a lot of people may already know about me. But that's what is bringing me joy these days. So I hope that all of you are finding something to bring you joy as well. So today, our woman of the day is Teresa Conchon D'Amato. She was a Mali chief and children's rights activist. Teresa was the youngest of 12 children. She was born into a family of chiefs in the Desda district near Lake Mali because she was the youngest sibling, a busy working mother of 5, and a daughter in a world where normally men would become chiefs. Teresa never imagined she would become a senior tribal leader. One of her quotes, "If you educate your girls, you will have everything in the future." And so Teresa led a campaign to end violence against women and girls. So the Chiefs, when the Chiefs called her home, supposedly because she was good with people, she left her job at college, one she held for 27 years, and headed home to put on the red robes, beads, and leopard skin headdress of a senior chief. Teresa became the Nkosi of the City Yanga line of the Masuko or Gamani dynasty, an impressive title for a modest, mild-mannered former secretary. As she started visiting the homes of the people who were now suddenly under her command, she decided she would use her authority to change things for the better. Where she lived, Mali is one of the poorest countries in the world. Poverty means it's easier for parents to marry their daughters off than to have another mouth to feed. Teresa was shocked when she saw that girls as young as 12 were having babies. In fact, Mali had one of the highest child marriage rates in the world. 1 out of 2 girls were married before 18. In Malawi, there are many serious problems, including violence against women and girls, early pregnancies, young mothers dying of complications in childbirths, and low numbers of girls getting education. So combined with the culture of silence, where abuse by fathers and husbands is accepted as normal, this means a dark future for girls in Malawi. Or did, until Teresa spoke out. Determined to change things, she first banned traditional practices that put young girls at risk of abuse. She discovered that people were unwilling to change old habits. She used the law to tell 50 sub-chiefs they had to sign an agreement to break up existing child marriages and ban any future ones, whether you like it or not. 4 of them resisted, so she suspended them until they agreed. That is one way to make a change. Over the last few years, she has dissolved over 850 child marriages in the Desda district, freeing those children to return to education. She says if you are educated, they can be whatever. If they are educated, they can be and have whatever they want. Educate the girl, and you educate the whole area. You educate the world. So Teresa wants children, especially girls, to go to school. She's created a network of parents to watch the situation closely and ensure that children stay in school. And things are slowly changing in her country. It's not been easy though, she's received death threats from those who do not want to abandon the old ways. She shrugged them off in a calm manner. When there's no public money available to send the children to school, Teresa pays for them to go to school out of her own pocket. Teresa brings female Malawians in peace to the villages to inspire young girls and to show them what is possible if they stay in school. As a result, students have become very interested in learning English, which is Malawi's official language. She also takes girls on trips to the city so they can see there is a world beyond the traditional farming ways of life. She's now working to raise the legal age for marriage from 18 to 21 and to improve girls' opportunities for education even further. This, she believes, is the only way to break the cycle of poverty in Malawi. She continues to dedicate her life to improving the future, not just of the girls and young women in her tribe, but to making a better future for the whole country. And that is amazing, isn't it? I mean, the things that are possible when a woman is in charge. If only, right? All right, so tomorrow we're going to talk about China's first and only female leader, Empress Wu Zetian. And so this book is fascinating. So thank you, Mom, if you're watching, for buying this book. And so, my friends, let's continue on with Charlotte's Web, shall we? Special announcement, said the loudspeaker in a pompous voice. The management of the fair takes great pleasure in presenting Mr. Homer L. Zuckerman and his famous pig. The truck bearing this extraordinary animal is now approaching the infield. Kindly stand back and give the truck room to proceed. In a few moments, the pig will be unloaded in the special judging ring in front of the grandstand, where a special award will be made. Will the crowd please make way and let the truck pass? Thank you. Wilbur trembled when he heard this speech. He felt happy but dizzy. The truck crept along slowly in low speed. Crowds of people surrounded it, and Mr. Arable had to drive very carefully in order not to run over anybody. At last, he managed to reach the judge's stand. Avery jumped out and lowered the tailgate. I'm scared to death, whispered Mrs. Zuckerman. Hundreds of people are looking at us. Cheer up, replied Miss Arable. This is fun. Unload your pig, please, said the speaker. All together now, boys, said Mr. Zuckerman. Several men stepped forward from the crowd to help lift the crate. Avery was the busiest helper of all. "Tuck your shirt in, Avery," cried Mrs. Zuckerman, "and tighten your belt. Your pants are coming down." "Can't you see I'm busy?" replied Avery in disgust. "Look," said Fern, "there's Henry." "Don't shout, Fern," said her mother, "and don't point." "Can't I please have some money?" Fern asked. "Henry invited me to go to the Ferris wheel again, only I don't think he has any money left. He ran out of money." Mrs. Arable opened her handbag. Here's 40 cents. Now go get lost and be back at our regular meeting place by the pig pen very soon." Fern raced off, ducking and dodging through the crowd in search of Henry. "The Zuckerman pig is now being taken from his crate," boomed the voice of the loudspeaker. "Stand by for an announcement." Templeton crouched under the straw at the bottom of the crate. "What a lot of nonsense. What a lot of fuss about nothing." Over in the pig pen, silent and alone, Charlotte rested. Her front 2 legs embraced the egg sack. Charlotte could hear everything that was said on the loudspeaker. The words gave her courage. This was her hour of triumph. As Wilbur came out of the crate, the crowd clapped and cheered. Mr. Zuckerman took off his cap and bowed. Lurvy pulled his big handkerchief from his pocket and wiped the sweat from the back of his neck. Avery knelt in the dirt by Wilbur's side, busily stroking him and showing off. Mrs. Zuckerman and Mrs. Arable stood on the running board of the truck. "Ladies and gentlemen, we now present Mr. Homer L. Zuckerman's distinguished pig. The fame of this unique animal has spread to the far corners of the earth, attracting many valuable tourists to our great state. Many of you will recall the never-to-be-forgotten day last summer when the writing appeared mysteriously on the spider's web in Mr. Zuckerman's barn, calling the attention of all and sundry to the fact that this pig was completely out of the ordinary. This miracle has never been fully explained, although learned men have visited the Zuckerman pig pen to study and observe the phenomenon. In the last analysis, we simply know that we are dealing with supernatural forces here, and we should all feel proud and grateful. In the words of the spider's web, ladies and gentlemen, this is some pig." Wilbur blushed. He stood perfectly still and tried to look his best. "This magnificent animal is truly terrific. Just look at him, ladies and gentlemen. Note the smoothness and the whiteness of his coat. Observe the spotless skin and the healthy pink glow of ears and snout." "It's the buttermilk," whispered Mrs. Arable to Mrs. Zuckerman. "Note the general radiance of this animal. Then remember the day when the word radiant appeared clearly on the web. Whence came the mysterious writing? Not from the spider, we can rest assured of that. Spiders are very clever at weaving their webs, but needless to say, spiders can't write." Or, "Oh, they can't, can they?" murmured Charlotte to herself. "Ladies and gentlemen, I must not take any more of your valuable time. On behalf of the governors of the fair, I have the honor of awarding a special prize of $25 to Mr. Zuckerman, together with a handsome bronze medal suitably engraved in token of our appreciation of the part played by this pig, this radiant, this terrific, this humble pig, in attracting so many visitors to our great county fair." Wilbur had been feeling dizzier and dizzier through this long complimentary speech. When he heard the crowd begin to cheer and clap again, he suddenly fainted away. His legs collapsed, his mind went blank, and he fell to the ground, unconscious. "What's wrong?" asked the loudspeaker. "What's going on, Zuckerman? What's the trouble with your pig?" Avery was kneeling by Wilbur's head, stroking him. Mr. Zuckerman was dancing about, fanning him with his cap. "He's all right," said Mr. Zuckerman. "He gets these spells. He's modest and can't stand praise." "Well, we can't give a prize to a dead pig," said the loudspeaker. "It's never been done." "He isn't dead," hollered Zuckerman. "He's fainted. He gets embarrassed easily. Run for some water, Lurvy." Lurvy sprang from the judge's ring and disappeared. Templeton poked his head from the straw. He noticed that the end of Wilbur's tail was within reach. Templeton grinned. "I'll tend to this," he chuckled. He took Wilbur's tail in his mouth and bit it just as hard as he could bite. The pain revived Wilbur. In a flash, he was back on his feet. "Ouch!" he screamed. "Hooray!" yelled the crowd. "He's up! The pig's up! Good work, Zuckerman! That's some pig!" Everyone was delighted. Mr. Zuckerman was the most pleased of all. He sighed with relief. Nobody had seen Templeton. The rat had done his work well. And now when the judges climbed to the ring with the prizes, he handed Mr. Zuckerman 2 $10 bills and a $5 bill. Then he tied the medal around Wilbur's neck. Then he shook hands with Mr. Zuckerman, while Wilbur blushed. Avery put out his hand, and the judge shook hands with him. The crowd cheered. A photographer took Wilbur's picture. A great feeling of happiness swept over the Zuckermans and the Arables. This was the greatest moment in Mr. Zuckerman's life. It is deeply satisfying to win a prize in front of a lot of people. And there was Wilbur before he got up. And there he is with the prize. As Wilbur was being shoved back into the crate, Lurvy came charging through the crowd carrying a pail of water. His eyes had a wild look. Without hesitating a second, he dashed the water at Wilbur. In his excitement, he missed his aim, and the water splashed all over Mr. Zuckerman and Avery. They got soaking wet. "For goodness sake," bellowed Mr. Zuckerman, who was really drenched. "What ails you, Lurvy? Can't you see the pig's all right?" "You asked for water," said Lurvy meekly. "I didn't ask for a shower bath," said Mr. Zuckerman. The crowd roared with laughter. Finally, Mr. Zuckerman had to laugh too, and of course Avery was tickled to find himself so wet, and he immediately started to act like a clown. He pretended he was taking a shower bath. He made faces and danced around and rubbed imaginary soap under his armpits. Then he dried himself with an imaginary towel. "Avery, stop it. Stop showing off," said his mother. But the crowd loved it. Avery heard nothing but the applause. He liked being a clown in a ring with everybody watching in front of a grandstand. When he discovered there was still a little water left in the bottom of the pail, he raised the pail high in the air and dumped the water on himself and made faces. The children in the grandstand screamed with appreciation. At last things calmed down. Wilbur was loaded into the truck. Avery was led from the ring by his mother and placed on the seat of the truck to dry off. The truck, driven by Mr. Arable, crawled slowly back to the pig pen. Avery's wet trousers made a big wet spot on the seat. And so, my friends, I look forward to continuing The Adventures of Charlotte's Web tomorrow. That is a good book. It's exciting. And I'm excited to see how it's going to end. It's been a while since I read that book. I think I was a kid when I last read it. So I have a feeling I know how it ends, but I'm not going to give it away for those who may not know the ending. So I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday. I'm going to get my hair cut today. So be ready for a new look when I do my bedtime stories tonight. So God bless you all.